Welcome, Hudson Valley. This is Conor Walsh, host of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. This week on In Touch, we have one of the premier Hudson Valley photographers, Joe Mack. Joe's photography was just featured in the new book, The Music of the Hudson Valley, Volume 1, written by Mercedes Barreto. Joe talks about his collaborations with Mercedes with her book and her online publication, Talent Manual Magazine. Joe also goes into his partnership with Daryl's house and how he gets around the Hudson Valley taking pictures of local and touring bands. Not just that, but Joe has an incredible documentary in the works highlighting the fascinating music memorabilia collection of Hudson Valley local Ken Frank. We invite you to listen to a previously recorded conversation between Joe and myself here on In Touch. I'm so proud to announce that In Touch has received another 2 Excellence in Broadcasting Awards from the New York State Broadcasting Association for 2024. In Touch received the award for Outstanding Public Affairs Program or Series for the second year in a row. Not just that, but In Touch also received the award for Outstanding Editorial/Commentary. This recognition would not be possible without all of our phenomenal guests that we learn from and grow with every single week, and of course, you, the listener. Whether you've been listening for a while or you just found us, thank you for taking part in the conversation and staying in touch with what's going on in the Hudson Valley. Because of the awesome success of In Touch over the last year, we are expanding. We're launching a new spin-off series under the In Touch umbrella called Townsquare Spotlight. These spotlights focus on amazing celebrities and leaders passing through the Hudson Valley who are making an impact in pop culture. You can check out our latest spotlights wherever you listen to In Touch. Hello, Hudson Valley. You're listening to another episode of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. This episode has been a long time coming. I've been connected to this guy online for a while, and we've been talking about trying to get an episode in, and we're finally making it happen. I am so excited about this one. One of the Hudson Valley's premier photographers. He's worked in real estate, travel, landscape, and particularly bands we're going to focus on today. His work was used in the recent book, The Music of the Hudson Valley, Volume 1, and he's even a producer on an upcoming documentary coming out real soon. Excited about that. With us, we have photographer, lifelong musician, drummer extraordinaire. We have Joe Mack. Joe, how are you?
Hey, guys. How are you? Hey, Conor. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So excited to have you in here. Really happy about it. And as I was just saying to you right before we got on the mic, somebody was telling me about this book and that I got to check it out.
And that's great. I'm so happy to hear that.
And I was like, oh, fantastic. I'll have to check it out. And then a couple days later, as we're getting ready for this interview, you sent me the message. It's like, by the way, I'm a part of this book. It's like, no, really?
Yeah.
All right. So perfect timing on everything. We have a lot to get through today because, hey, you're a very busy guy.
You keep
yourself very busy.
With a lot of things, yeah.
Which is fantastic. So let's just talk about here, like your photography. That's like the bread and butter. That's what you're known for. That's your prime. That's your deal here. So you do real estate by day, music by night. Kind of sounds like a superhero. It's like real estate by day, music by night. He is Joe Mack. Something like that. So, tell us about like what got you into photography in the first place? What was your passion to even start with that?
Many times I get asked, Joe, how long have you been doing this? And the story I tell is I was like 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. My parents were going to take a trip to Niagara Falls. And I remember my father bought me this little camera. It was an actual camera, fit in the palm of your hand. It had a leather case, took film. I don't remember using it, but I'm sure I did. But that was my first camera, and I think I've been hooked ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So and then I go, so do the math. That's how long I've been doing
it. Well, at Niagara Falls, that's a great place to be able to start that.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
so beautiful. Yeah. And, of course, being a musician yourself, you said you play drums and everything.
Yep, right.
That's definitely a big passion to be able to capture all these bands then. What's that like for you? You do a lot of work for Daryl's house, I know.
Yeah.
And then you also have worked with a number of musicians outside, gone to venues. Actually, you just recently did a shoot for my friend John Newhall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know John.
Yep. We went to college together, and he's going to be on a future episode.
John just reached out, I think it was yesterday. He's got a bunch of shows booked at the brewery in Newburgh.
Yeah, he's got the Halloween show coming up.
Well, this is for January and further
Oh, my
out.
God, good for him.
He's booked for like 6 shows there. He asked me to shoot every one of them.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to, maybe this is premature, but what he's trying to do is set up like a showcase event where he's going to be the featured act, but he's going to bring in other bands.
Yeah.
And then, so then maybe I'll get to shoot all the bands and play at that thing. But I'll be
cool.
doing all his shows there.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what is it like being able to get to be involved with all these bands and all these artists? I just saw recently you did a Meatloaf tribute band.
Meatloaf tribute.
That's amazing.
They were amazing. They were good. They looked the part. They sounded it. I mean, they didn't have as big a band. I saw Meatloaf at his first tour.
Oh,
it was
wow.
amazing. Orange County Community College, his first tour, they must have booked him before he got big. Tickets were $4. But the show he put on was amazing. Never forgot it. And this guy, the band wasn't quite as big, but he really had it down. He was a good singer, good performer. His wife is the female, and she played the part very well too.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, so like I'm a staff photographer at Daryl's. I shoot local bands. I remember when I started doing this, I just decided I worked in West Point for 39 years. Retired 8 years ago. I was in construction down there, construction management. So that's when I decided, let's see if I can make something out of photography. So my first music shoot, my son Mike Mack,
yes,
he's got a band and he's got an acoustic thing he does. So he was playing at Schlesinger's. Never shot a band before. I said, let me come down and see what I can do. He said, do you mind? I said, no. So I shot the show. Came out pretty good. So then I started talking to other bands in the area. And, everybody isn't open to it, but the ones that are smart are. And I started, I've shot at the Chance, the Falcon, the Colony, Pearl Moon, Daryl's now. What's that one in Beacon? Town Crier.
Town Crier, yeah.
So, the bigger venues around here, I've shot at all of those. I've learned through the process when someone says, hey, Joe, I'm playing at Jim's Bar. No, that's not very good for photos. So I won't do. If they're just a band stuck up against the wall playing, yeah. I don't do it. I'll take your money, but I don't want to do it. So
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's
it
tough
is. I mean,
I
want people to say, "Wow, look at those pictures," for you and for me. Yeah. And if you do a shoot like that, and it's like they're going to go, "What is this?" So I stay away from those.
No, understandable. Yeah, but those are some phenomenal places, and I'm sure it's gotten you into the door for so many.
Oh yeah,
so many events. You're getting paid to be at these amazing shows.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I mean, Daryl's, I don't get paid, but I get to say I'm a staff photographer at Daryl's.
Yeah.
And I get to meet all these bands.
Yeah.
Usually I'll go backstage and I'll meet them. I don't know if you know about Daryl's. They got this couch with all this graffiti on the wall. So I always take a couple of shots of them on the couch. And then I shoot the show. With Daryl's, they have me shoot 30 minutes. And all they want is my best 15 shots. So I'll do the shoot, I'll edit them, I'll send them out. But sometimes bands will hire me at Daryl's. And for them, I'll do a full hour. And they get maybe 500 to 600 photos in that hour. I still send Daryl their 15, but they get the rest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's such a great way for the artist to be able to kind of go back, witness it, and then that's great for promotion.
Yeah.
That's great publicity for them, for you, all of that.
I just shot, who did I shoot? Jagged Little Thrill. It was a Alanis Morissette tribute band last week. She is in love with me. She wants me to go every show she does now because she loved what I did. I mean, and she said most photographers don't capture what I'm looking for. And she felt I did. There's a nice review on my page that she sent me.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
No, we'll have to include that in the description for this episode. Please send that to me before we publish this. That's terrific. So you have all these bands that you're working for, working with Daryl's House. That's a big accomplishment, of course. And let's talk about the Music of the Hudson Valley, Volume 1, of course. You're working with Mercedes on this, and you're just able to kind of synthesize a number of the acts that you've been working with,
The way that came about was, like I said, with working with Mercedes, I'll shoot a band. And if I think they're good and they deserve an interview, I forward their name and email to Mercedes. Mm-hmm. She'll then do an email interview with them. They provide some photos, usually they're ones I've done. Answer the questions. She'll ask me a couple of questions about working with the band. The band gets a link, which is their interview, so then they can use that for social media. We've done so many, and she came to me and she said, Joe, you think we could put together a book with the people that we've interviewed? I go, sure, I don't see why not. So all the people that are in this book and in the future books are people that I've worked with and submitted the name to her, and then she did the interview. That's so how it all came about. So everybody's like always so appreciative when they go, Joe, I can't believe you got me this interview. Well, that's what it's all about. We're all in this together.
Yeah, the networking is crazy, just the people you're able to meet on that. So when it comes to the book, what are some names or faces or cover bands or something that people might be able to recognize from seeing shows around the Hudson Valley?
From this book?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who's in the first book. I know Libricide. That's a kind of a 4-piece progressive rock kind of band.
Nice.
Jessie Lee Montague, she's from
Yep.
up around Hyde Park, Rhinebeck area. There's another girl from Westchester. Her name is Jessie Rose.
Oh, yeah.
You know Jessie?
No,
I met her.
I know a lot of these names.
Okay.
I've seen them around.
It's funny with Jessie. The way I met Jessie was I was shooting a band at the Chance, and I see this, I'm going to say guy, running around taking pictures too. I go, okay, so there's another photographer here. He had a wool cap on, pulled way down tight, no makeup, and it was Jessie. It wasn't a guy. It was Jessie.
Oh.
So she does photography too. She sings, she does photography, she does physical fitness stuff.
Oh, wow.
She does a bunch of stuff like that.
That's so cool.
Who else we got? There's a band, they're out of Jersey, but they've played in the Hudson Valley called Good Stuff.
Okay,
And
I've heard of them too.
I've become really good friends with Mike Caputo, the lead. They do Steely Dan tribute.
Yeah.
These guys are amazing. Every chance I get to try to plug them for a venue, I do. And I've been trying to get them in Daryl's, but they've already got a couple of Steely Dan bands, so they don't like to, pack them in too much with the same kind of music. But I think they're on the wait list there for when the rotation happens, they'll get back in.
That'd be cool. You got to be good to do Steely Dan
yeah.
stuff. I did a Steely back in college. We had recording ensembles, we called them, each semester. And one of the semesters, we ended up doing a Steely Dan band.
Nice.
And holy crap, that kicked our ass trying to learn those songs.
Oh my God!
It was an impressive time, but we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, they've been together quite a while. Good Stuff, and they sound really, really good. I mean, the first time I saw them, I say it to everybody: if you close your eyes, many people use this anachronism, whatever. You close your eyes and you think you're with that band, and that's how close to the sound they are.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. No, that's awesome to be able to check that out. So where can people go to purchase this book?
It's on Amazon.
On Amazon.
So if you just search the title of the book, the page will pop up, and there'll be, I guess there's like a couple of sample pages there. You can see what's in it. One of the bands, Libricide, reached out to Mercedes about getting a bulk purchase. So what they're doing is she found a printer. So it's not going to go through Amazon. They're going to print a separate version of the book. These guys want 50 copies. I don't know if anybody else in the other bands want them. They're going to use them as merch. When they go play someplace, they're going to put out the books. Here you go. Buy the book.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
That's amazing merch to be able to just hand out like that. It's like, here's our T-shirts, our hoodies, our CDs, our vinyls. By the way, we're in this awesome book, too. It's like...
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not every band that's going out there has something like that to offer, so that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
That's so cool. So, of course, working with Mercedes and everything, she runs Talent Manual magazine,
The
is that
Talent Manual
correct?
magazine, yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that, I'm involved with the music end of that.
Yeah.
But she's got, under that umbrella, she's probably got 3 or 4 other magazines that feature different subjects. If you go to the page, if you saw the link to my interview, when it comes up, and across the top of the page shows all the rest of the magazines she's involved with.
Wow.
So she's a real hustler.
That's
really
impressive.
Is. And she's only like 23 years old.
Jesus, she's younger than me? No, that's awesome. We're going to have her on a future episode as well, so make sure that you stay tuned on that. And, of course, we'll have all the links and information for the book, the magazine, all that. That's going to be in the description, so you'll have that all available to you. So, no, that's super impressive. Now, of course, besides the photography, something that you just messaged me about before we got on the mic and everything, you're a producer on an upcoming documentary?
I'm so excited about this.
Tell us about it then.
Okay, I'm trying to guess. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, I get a phone call from this guy telling me about this collection of memorabilia he's got, and he'd like me to photograph it for him. And it's all music-related memorabilia. So I go, yeah, when you're ready to get it together, let me know. I think he was, at the time, was talking about Parliament Funkadelic. He had a section just about Parliament Funkadelic.
Nice.
So I said, well, when you get it together, let me know. And I figured I'm never going to hear from this guy again because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he did get back to me. He goes, Joe, I'm ready. If you want to come up, let's see what we can do. I go to his house. Every inch of every wall of every room has pictures, album covers, photographs, programs, all signed by the artists. And it's like, what is this? So I started looking around. And it's like, where do I begin? So he goes, let's see how much you can get done in an hour. And we'll take care of that and then maybe come back and do it again. So I spent an hour photographing that day. I probably came back at least 2 or 3 more times. I don't know how many, 1,000 pictures. It's an amazing collection. It turned out he had to sell a good chunk of it.
Oh, really?
He was living in this place he's still in Sullivan County, but the house he was in, he was renting. The owner was going to give it to his daughter or whatever. He had to leave, so he had to get rid of a lot of the stuff, and he sold it to some collector in New York. But now he's in this new place. It's about 10 minutes from Bethel Woods. The walls are still covered with photos and albums and whatnot. And in the process, all the times I go up and see him, I'm hearing all these stories about things he's done. It's it's like, yeah, right. But then I start talking to other people that actually know him from the past. It's all true. He had a place in Jersey. I don't think he owned it, but it was kind of like a commune kind of a thing.
Oh, wow.
And all these guys would hang out there, and all these famous musicians would come and hang out and play there. They'd have concerts in the backyard.
Amazing.
It is amazing. So he's got CDs of a lot of the shows. So I got the idea. I said, we got to do a documentary. And I told him about it. He goes, I'd love to do it. Let's do it. So let me try to find a filmmaker. I put the word out, and this one guy said he would do it, but then he just kept never following through. And Ken's going, man, when are we going to do this? Ken, it'll happen when it's meant to happen. So a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from Anthony Gaithers. He's a bass player in a band I shot in Pearl Moon. Excellent bass player, and he was the whole show. He's dancing all over the stage. And he calls me up, Joe, would you like to do a shoot with me? He does video.
Okay.
And he goes, this is who it's going to be, and he sends me a link. Konstantin Maroulis.
I know that name.
From American Idol and then from Broadway.
Yeah.
He's put together a 90s band, 90s grunge band.
Oh, wow.
He got hired to do the video. They hired me to do the stills. So now I'm doing this with him, and I'm thinking, I wonder if he'd want to get involved with the documentary. So I approach him about that. I give him the outline of all the info about stuff from his history. He goes, absolutely. So he's going to do the video. Mercedes is going to do the editing.
Amazing.
I'm going to be like the producer, tying all the loose ends together. And then we're going to try to sell it. And we'll see what happens.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. It's going to be an amazing story.
That's so good. Are you allowed to disclose the name of the person who has all this stuff?
Ken Frank.
Ken Frank.
Amazing guy. Crazy guy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And he had this place in Jersey, and all these bands came through.
Yeah.
So you said Parliament Funkadelic was the main thing that he originally hit you up about.
Yes.
But, what are some of the other artists that he was able to collaborate? I know.
B.B. King.
Oh, amazing.
Dr. John. Marshall Tucker Band, who was one of the bands at his house. He had a program signed by Ed Sullivan from one of the shows at the theater.
Wow.
It just goes on and on. I should have made a list because I knew you were going to ask it. I'd never be able to remember them all.
It's all good. Well, hey, it sounds like he's got a lot. So
he's got a lot.
But, hey, that's a really good highlight right there of the people that you're mentioning. That's
we're
insane.
going to do this, I think, October 9th. It's going to be like a 10-hour day, just filming and interviewing all day long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be impressive.
Yeah.
That's going to be
wait.
so cool to be able to see and hear all that. Yep. Do you have a name yet? I know
No,
it seems early in the process.
I'm kicking one around, but I wouldn't even know what to tell you.
That's fine.
There's a piece. I don't even know if I should tell you about this piece. I won't. I'll tell you off. There's a piece to the book that's going to be included. I mean, a piece to his story that's going to be included in the movie, but I don't want to put it out on the air right now.
No worries. You just got to make sure that you keep up with everything so that when it does come out, you'll know. It's like, oh, I wonder what that piece is that he was holding back from us. No, that's fantastic. Joe, this is so cool. So I kind of want to rein it in again a little bit. As a musician, as a drummer yourself, it's like to be able to live this life, and I'm sure you're playing out as much, but now you're still getting to see and experience all these bands. What does this mean to you as a musician and as a fan?
It's everything. I mean, I've been a musician since I was like 12 years old. You know, Beatles came out, everybody was going to be in a band. We did get a band. I grew up in Newburgh, and at that time there was bands all over the place, and there was places for us all to play all the time. So that's when it got started with the music. Never stopped with the music. Always followed music. Always played music. And then when the photography thing happened, to do it with the music. It was like a dream come true, and especially working at Daryl's. I've got a contact there. The way that works at Daryl's, I get the newsletter every week. I see who's playing, whoever I want to shoot. I submit my name. I submit the date and the band's name. And if one of the other photographers didn't get it, I do. So I remember it's about my 2-year anniversary right now at Daryl's, and I wrote to them thanking them so much for allowing me the opportunity to be part of that team, playing there, shooting there, hearing these bands, and just being part of the music scene. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yep.
Have you had a chance to meet any of your musical idols in the process?
Not there yet, but
yeah.
Vanilla Fudge is coming up in October.
Okay.
I got those guys.
Nice.
I got Shamika Copeland. That's going to be a cool shoot.
You got that one too?
Yeah,
I just got an email about that to try to get in. We're seeing if we can pull something off on that.
Have you heard of Low Cut Connie?
What was that?
Low Cut Connie.
No, I don't think so.
Amazing band. You got to check them out.
Okay.
You know where I found out about those guys?
Where's that?
Sirius Radio, Lil Steven's Underground Garage. On Friday nights, Drew Carey used to do the Friday Night Freakout.
Yeah.
And I'd be coming home from a shoot listening to Drew. And that's where I heard about Low Cut Connie. An amazing band.
Oh, maybe I have heard them then.
I bet you have. If you hear their single, you'll say, oh, yeah, I know who they are.
Okay, more than likely, because I'm familiar with the show. So more than likely then I've heard of something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So, all right. So as we're getting towards the end of this episode then, I just want to put it out there for those listening in the Hudson Valley. For anybody who's, into the arts, into photography, into music, and is looking for a way to feel connected to their passion, even when it might feel difficult or strained or hard at first. As somebody who's really living it and gotten to embrace it and, really great experiences, especially just keeps building and building and building for you, what kind of advice or words of wisdom would you have for those people?
Follow your dream. Go for it, don't give up. You got to make it happen. If you're a photographer, just keep shooting. Shoot, and see what people say. Sorry to say, if nobody gives you back any good feedback, maybe you got to find a different hobby. But that's the only way you're going to find out if you're any good. You got to shoot and let people see what you do and get their feedback.
Amazing. Yeah, that's the way to do it. And hey, when you got a network like yours at this point, is that's great to be able to get out there and you could just pretty much pick whoever you want at this point who's coming around here.
It's great.
That's amazing. Again, if you want more information on Joe Mack, we're going to have links in the description for the Music of the Hudson Valley Volume 1. We'll have more when it comes to Talent Manual Magazine. We're also going to have links to some of these other things going on. And of course, Joe, if anybody's looking to hire you, how should they reach out?
Well, you could find me on Facebook. I've got a Joe Mack page and I've got an event photography page. You could call me at 845-670-9499. If you don't like calling, you use the same number to send me a text. Email is event.photography.jm@gmail.com. You can reach me there.
Amazing. And again, all that will be in the description of this episode, so we'll be able to make it nice and neat, tie it up in a little bow, a little snapshot, perhaps. So there you go. This has been this week's edition of In Touch, the award-winning public affairs and issues program that runs across Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley radio stations. We want to give a big thank you to Joe Mack. To get a hold of Joe Mack, you can call or text him at 845-607-9499 or email him at event.photography.jm@gmail.com. Also, be sure to find more of his work with Talent Manual Magazine and the Music of the Hudson Valley. Of course, all links and information will be in the description of this episode. The party doesn't end here. Joe is just one piece of the new book, The Music of the Hudson Valley Volume 1. Hop on over to our sister segment, Townsquare Spotlight, where we talk to the author of the book and owner and founder of Manual Magazine, Mercedes Barreto. You can listen to that episode wherever you listen to In Touch. Whether you've been listening for a while or you just joined us, thank you. You can find In Touch episodes new and old on your favorite streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. That and listen on demand with your Townsquare radio station mobile app. Of course, you can still find all articles and audio under the In Touch tab on this radio station's app and website. And don't forget, we're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at InTouch_HV. I've been your host, Conor Walsh. Until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time